I'm finally back from my trip from Mexico. Honestly, I had a blast, so that's my excuse why I haven't been posting for like the longest time. But I wish I did have some pre recorded videos so that would work, but I think the break helps. But, anyways, you guys read the title right, and we're gonna go ahead and get started. And I would say I had about two encounters, but one I was just kind of wrong. It's just something I wasn't really familiar with or something that I've never seen from the last time I've gone. So once I got there to Mexico and out of the airport, and we were on our way to where I live. So from the airport to where I live was maybe about half an hour. And within that drive, I was in the passenger seat, by the way. I was just taking videos, getting to talk to the people I was staying with, because they're my dad's friends, so they know each other really well. So I knew I was in good hands. But obviously, who you gotta know the person and get to know them, build a connection. So that's what I did, just getting to talk to them. And out of the blue, I just see like a big truck. It looked very just suspicious. There was rails on the top, and I noticed like two armed people were there. I'm like, yo, what the hell? And like it kind of scared me. I'm like, dude, I'm like 30 minutes in and I'm already seeing this shit. I'm like, I'm not gonna make it here much further. Like something bad's gonna happen and I ain't coming back. But it turns out it was just the military, and I was like, oh, okay. So I guess they're just making a bunch of changes, which I think is really nice to see. But other than that, that's just kind of how all that went. That was just kind of my first encounter. Nothing too crazy. But the next encounter was a real one, by the way. So we went over to this place called Tequila in Jalisco, which is around about, I want to say, 2 hours from where I live, still in the same state. And we were on our way, like in the morning. I think we left at around like 10 and got there by like 12 or 1. I can't remember. But the whole trip was amazing, had lots of fun, and nothing went wrong. Honestly, just had a blast. I would honestly want to go back there and go to that specific place. Honestly, that's how amazing it was. And throughout that whole trip, I took around like 200 to 300 pictures and videos, like all in total. So if I look at a picture or video, I can just tell you everything about it. And I think that's honestly a good thing. So it's not like I take pictures that often. So when I do, it's honestly really worth it. But anyways, this doesn't really start to pick up until we were leaving. Well, on our way home. So one thing that I've noticed is that here in the U.S., when it becomes like around like 9 to 9:30, at least where I'm at, it starts to get dark. And over there in Mexico, it's from like 7:30 to 8. So I'd say like an hour and a half difference, which isn't too bad really, but just to kind of keep that in mind. And we left at around 6:30, so it was like evening. The sun was kind of starting to go down. You can tell it wasn't the same. It was starting to get warmer. And we left. I left pretty happy, pretty satisfied. Like I was able to say I concluded my trip here. So we left, and on the way home, I was just taking a look of like everything, my surroundings, because I want to compare it, like the differences obviously from here and there. And I was just taking videos, pictures, and out of all things, I was fucking playing Dragon Ball Legends because it was the anniversary. I think it was like part 2 at the time. And and then once we got to the town, we were like on the very far outskirts, like very close to entering the town. And there was a pickup truck that was behind us on this little rocky road. And he had his brights on. He was like right behind us, like right on our ass, like on the verge of tailgating. Like, well, he was tailgating us, and I'm like, if he's just in a rush, he can just go ahead and speed off, move in front of us, and go on with his night, right? But he didn't, and I didn't really think too much of it because one of the things that I noticed throughout my time there is that the people that are driving do not give a shit. Like, you can see people on the motorcycles flooring it, four-wheelers all over the place. Just people don't care, riding on the sidewalks just to get past someone, just to get past a little bump, get it past a one car, just to be at the same location at the same time, you know? And it's kind of like picturing New York or Seattle, like at the worst traffic possible, the busiest day, and everyone's in an absolute rush. Just picture that, but a little bit more violent, a little bit more crazy. But I didn't see any crashes throughout the whole time there, so I'm kind of shocked. But anyways, when the guy was behind us, he just wouldn't get out of the way. I'm like, if he's such in a rush, why doesn't he go? So he would kind of speed off a little bit, and he would be right behind us again. And I'm like, dude, it's an open road. Just go ahead and take it. But he didn't. And then the guy who I was staying with told me if there was any pipes behind, like any irrigation pipes, and I was like, no, I can't really see anything because of the dude's brights, but I don't know. And his son, who was also in the back seat with him, because we had an Uber actually, who is family with him, well, his wife. Anyways, he told him, and he said, I think I can see one. And that's when it kind of clicked in his mind, and I was like, oh, okay, it's them. And I didn't think, I was like, oh, maybe he knows them or something. And then he ends up kind of explaining it little by little, not to scare me, that these are the people that steal gasoline. And to give you a little bit of some information about that, the people who steal gasoline are criminals, armed criminals that like to steal gas at night. Fuck with them, they fuck with you. Don't mess with them, they won't mess with you, realistically. But I kind of started to shit myself because I'm like, dude, I'm like a week and a half in, I believe, and this shit's already happening at night, by the way. I think it was like 9. It's dark, so anything can happen and people won't know. And if they do know, their asses are out, okay? So we try to speed off a little bit, and then it looks like they fell a little bit behind. We would forward a little bit more, they would get closer, and then they would fall behind. And then eventually they ended up making a turn to like a field that was unlocked, because we passed like maybe a good 2-3 fields that were locked, which they didn't go through. And I guess there was one, so they took their turn there. And then we were around like more in the center of the town. I'd say more close enough. And we were like, fuck, finally we got rid of them. And like my heart was kind of racing, like I wanted more. And I'm like, dude, no, shut the fuck up. We can't have that. You know, we're here for vacation, not to like try to just defend myself for whatever stupid reason. But other than that, we made it home. I looked through all the shit that I got, took pictures, sent it to my family, and honestly, it was just a blast. But it was just something really, really scary. And you know, you got to know where you're going, what time you're going to be back, just to avoid little things like that, which was that could honestly end up really bad, whether you're a tourist or just you being from there. You know what I mean? But other than that, if that's the advice that I can give to anyone, is just watch out time wise when you're gonna leave, when you're gonna be back, just to avoid those little things. But other than that, that concludes my little adventure there, which was pretty scary. Other than that, my whole time there, I had lots of fun, no crazy shit, 10 out of 10 experience, and I will go there again. But other than that, I'll see you guys in the next time. Peace.